So basically, whenever you do this path and you want to go for a potential bot lane gank, this
Level
is your
3 guy.
first time window. On level 2, I guess it's not that great on Velvet at least to go for a level 2 gank. But this is when you would look on your bot lane and see what's going on there. If there is any potential fight, if there is any potential trading, because we have two mages, right, with Lux and Mal. So they basically don't really offer anything the support offers in general. They just provide damage. And because of that, you can expect a lot of fighting to happen there. So
Or if it
basically,
goes
this would be, in general, your first ganking window. And then, after you killed your red buff, this would be your second option to see if anything happens and you could potentially gank them. But if not, then you just carry on and you just finish your clear. Like, you don't have to force anything, and it's super efficient to just full clear basically and get as many gold and XP as you can. So here Viego messes up, and here you have Q the whole time, and you didn't press it. You didn't look to position yourself. Because that's the huge difference maker with Balbat, that you have to keep moving between your auto attacks in order to always be on the side where you want to be. Especially when you're fighting someone melee like Viego. Like, he messed up. Like, at this point, he should be dead. He missed his most important spell, his stun, and now you just basically got scared. But this was easily a fight which you should have won. With that, like, imagine if you just, with that one extra dash, you go through him for that small amount of damage, because you're just gonna leave with so small HP. Like, this shouldn't be this close. Like, at this point, you have basically twice as much HP as he has. Well, almost. And like, I think that here you had one more dash, right?
The one I used to escape.
Yeah, the one you used to escape. But I guess I'm not sure how many games you have on Velvet so far. But I guess this will just come with experience, that you're gonna think about these things with your dashes.
I usually, because I'm not so proficient with Velvet,
Yeah.
I keep that in mind, that I'm thinking about it while fighting.
Yeah. I mean,
But here I thought I had my E up.
Yeah.
So I'm sure I got this. And then I pressed E, never happened, saw the cooldown and panicked.
Yeah.
It was something like that.
So after that mistake, he definitely should have lost this fight, and basically then you are the one getting one extra kill and getting Scuttle, which would have helped you snowball even sooner. Then basically you just, well, recalled, not because you wanted to, but you had to. Then this is your other ganking window to look for bot lane, but despite we talking about this at the start, that we have two mages on bot lane, we have a Lux who looks to fight a lot. We didn't really look at bot lane all that much, and we ignored the early fights.
True. It's usually the other way around. I don't look at top lane, usually.
Yeah.
It's like I delete one lane from my game.
Because we looked quite a lot at top lane, but like Ornn is not really our win condition. Mordekaiser isn't their win condition really, but if a Zeri and Mal snowballs really hard and gets bad, then your Ornn won't be able to stop them. Plus, from a ballot perspective, it's quite annoying to face any of those two champions. Like it's really easy to get stunned by Mel. Zeri can kite you, can slow you. So it's quite annoying and frustrating to play against those champions, especially if they are ahead. So this is like the other reason why we should have kept looking on bot lane and look for any gank opportunities. Fortunately for you, you didn't really have gank opportunities, but in other games, this is they could have ended with a loss just because you ignored your bot lane and ignored the gank opportunities you had. Like you are not doing this that often, as I noticed that basically between your camps, between walking from one camp to the other, like you always have to look at your closest lanes. In this case, mid lane and bot lane, right? Or just look at the site and see that, okay, my Gale doesn't have that much HP. That much mana. She's almost half HP. So they probably gonna look to fight on mid or like fought a lot on mid. So if there's any potential opportunity for us to counter game this, then it's not like we have to go for it, but it's something to consider if the opportunity shows.
If they
And basically we cannot ignore them. So I'm just saying it's not like a must thing. Okay, I look mid, I see a lot of HP, I must go there. It's not like that. It's not black and white. But it's just nice to keep these things in mind and consider them. But the next fight will be on top lane. Oh, that's why he didn't have his Raptors up when he should have had them up. He basically got the bot scuttle, showed up, and then instead of recalling, he decided to go for Raptors, then go for Krugs. Interesting. So now we know.
It's classic low willow random.
Yeah.
Path.
Yeah, because you had the right idea. Like after he got the scuttle and cross mid, like sure there was a much chance that maybe he got his scuttle, but in the first place, him crossing mid didn't make that much sense, especially when his bot side was there for him. But here I would say you should have recalled as well and not go for this top play because Mordekaiser is already level 6 by this time. Solo lanes get to level 6 between 5 minutes 30 and 6 minutes unless they somehow missed a lot of XP. Around 6 minutes they already should be on level 6. So here recalling would have been the right move. And he didn't recall, he didn't word this, but his body language suggested me that, okay, he most likely worded this. Like how the way he moved into the river bush, towards the river bush.
The only reason I went for this play was that he was pushing.
Yeah, he was, but he's a Mordekaiser who is level 6.
Yeah. I didn't think about this.
Yeah, like Mordekaiser is quite hard to gank whenever he is level 6. Like he's a
he can isolate one.
Yeah, he can easily isolate one. And then if he was a little bit better, then he easily would have killed you and you basically just die. And I would say this gank opportunity here. not gank
Fine
opportunity, like this gank call just pretty much led to the first dragon loss, and basically we are now late to this bot lane play as well. Because if we go back, let's see when you start recalling and when that bot fight happens. So basically at 6 minutes 12, so in 8 seconds you are at base. So basically at 6 minutes 20, and then another, well, like 30 seconds for you to get here on bot. So around 6 minutes 50, you would be on bot lane. Let's go with 6 minutes 55, worst case, if we are buying our items slowly. And instead, where we are at 6 minutes 50-ish.
Okay, so
we would be already here on our Krugs by this time, getting Krugs, and be ready for the next fight, which is about to happen on bot lane. But instead, we are super late to this. And then fight breaks out because they hit level 6, and right now you would be already behind them in time to get 2 kills, right? Like easily, you would have in 15 seconds by this time you would be already done with your Krugs, right? Because it doesn't take more than 15 seconds to kill Krugs at this point as a Velvet. And you would be already here looking to clean this up. And if you ask me, killing these two, even though they are S2 and not as like 1, is easier than killing a Mordekaiser with level 6 alone. Would you agree?
Yeah.
So basically, these are the things you have to consider early on with your recalling.
Maybe not losing Dragon at the after.
Yeah, definitely you don't lose Dragon either, because if you ignore this top play, you recall, you get your Krugs, you get 2 kills on bot lane, or at least get 1 kill. By that time, you are level 6. Meanwhile, well, this Viego actually is level 6, but it would be level 6 Viego against level 6 Belvat. So at least if you just show here, then he cannot contest it because his bot lane is dead. Your bot lane is out though because your support is dead and your AD carry has to recall. But my point is, it would be a 1v1 and he cannot start with Drake, because if he starts it, then he's just dead. And his only chance is that, okay, his piece has prio and has wood, so he gonna move and help him. It wouldn't be like a good idea for you to go for this dragon, but you wouldn't lose it either, because your presence would have made him to be scared of you and not start it. But we still ended up getting 1 kill because it's low elo and people overstay all the time. But yeah, we skilled our mid laner, it's whatever. I don't think anything happens before the White Grabs fight. Only this fight happens. So here basically, like, once again, when I was watching this live, you didn't really consider looking on top lane either, and basically you eventually ended up moving top, but it was quite slow. which is obviously a mistake. Like whenever you saw Viego, your first thought, like even before seeing Viego, should be not okay. Same thing like earlier. Whenever you have nothing to do, you look to your lanes and see what's going on top lane, see what's going on mid lane. Obviously, mid lane, nothing happens really, but on top lane, your Ornn is fighting and Viego is around, so there's a potential skirmish breaking out, guaranteed, which actually just happened. And now, again, this will be the same thing like on the Dragon, just because of your presence, the fight doesn't continue, and Mordekaiser and Viego can no longer go for this dive. Well, obviously, they don't really have minions. But thanks to you, basically, because you are catching this wave, and they cannot go for this dive. So it's not about fighting them necessarily. It's more like about just showing and being present and being around to prevent Ornn from dying.
Exactly, that was my thought too.
Yeah, so basically here you don't have to commit, you don't have to go for anything crazy, because then if you get too low on HP, if they push this wave in, then you might get dowed by them and you might actually die, which obviously we don't want.
Yeah,
and here you have enough for Kraken, which I forgot how cheap Kraken is, and I easily would have went for these camps, but since you had enough for Kraken, this was the right move.
Have vision, I wouldn't even contest, but he went for the Scuttle Crab first.
Yeah.
So he was late, so I said...
yeah, he
with
was late.
Full item, I might...
He was late, but even then, I just wouldn't consider this fight to be good, especially when this piece already has completed item as well, and he has a lead, so... Or just...
thought about Fizz. Never thought.
Or just pretty much suicided here, which you should never go for. Because people go for objectives like these all the time, but it's a really bad habit that, okay, enemy team is contesting, so I have to contest it. That's like a really bad mindset. And it worked out for you, but it wasn't the best idea to go for this play. You're lucky that your Kayle moved, but I think if this Fizz would have been smarter, or if we had wood, then he's just killing you both.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing I noticed, since you eventually ended up going for this play instead of the safest play, which would have been get Viego's jungle, it's fine, he got Void Grubs, whatever. I know it sucks, especially for Belvet, to not get the Void Grubs, but sometimes you have to give up. You get his jungle, and then once again you can punish his bot lane. Like your bot lane, I mean enemy bot lane already killed yours 5 times. You want to shut them down, because the things I said earlier, because it doesn't matter if your Ornn is ahead, doesn't matter if Ornn is winning his lane, he will be struggling just like you against these champions, against Mel and Zeri.
He's
and
not a
then
condition.
What? Sorry?
He's not a win condition.
Yeah, he's not a win condition. Like, he won't be able to do anything with Zeri or Mel if these two get fed. Plus, if these two get fed, that just means your bot lane falls behind. And if your bot lane falls behind while your Kayle is already behind, no one is going to be able to really kill Mordekaiser. And they're gonna have an unkillable frontliner. So you would be basically behind them by this point, and then you would be able to most likely kill them or burn their flashes. Well, luckily they don't have flash, but you get the idea. Burning their flash, or just making them low on HP. Like, you have Ash ult, and imagine you go bot lane, you go through Zeri with your Q, you knock her up, and then it's a pretty much guaranteed CC for Lux and a guaranteed CC for your Ash as well with ult. But the other thing I noted down was, since you went for this play, was for a little bit more efficiency to go for your Grom first and then Wolf, and then you could have went all the way down bot because you don't have that much gold. But let me check. I don't think it's binded for me.
I had 700 gold, I think. About 700.
Yeah, so it wasn't that much on gold. You had 800, almost 900 gold. So it wasn't anything big. Basically, you can't really buy anything. And there's no objective on the map, right? Dragon is down, white grabs are gone, so you don't really have to rush for an objective or anything. So you can easily just get your raptors. By this time you would have been done with your raptors, and then if there's a play on bot lane, you go bot. If there's no play on bot lane, then you go and finish your Krugs as well, and then look for a bot lane play once again. So this is how you stay somewhat more efficient, and then just have high CS numbers while being everywhere. At least you're gonna make the enemy team feel like you are everywhere. And then basically they're gonna see that, okay, their jungler is down on CS, because if he would have got Raptors and Krugs, we would have more CS than this Viego does. And then they would be like, okay, but the enemy jungler is everywhere, at least outfarm him. But that's not the case. That wouldn't happen just because you're more efficient, right? And this was just a dumb fight from Viego. Here you are just collecting some free kills. Here what I was thinking is that you didn't really have to pick up the orb, right? I mean the wood, because you still had it from Viego. So I think the fact... So I
thought
think...
about it at this time that I shouldn't, because it slowed me down chasing Zeri.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I wanted to say, that basically that you picked up just made you forced pretty much to burn your flash. So I don't think you really had to, especially because you still had it from Viego. But I mean, it worked.
It's a bad habit. I make it less times now that I've played some Velvet games. Because when I first started, I did it automatically.
Yeah.
After someone died, I pressed R. So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
went into towers and such. So
yeah,
trying to
it's
stop this from.
yeah. So right now, this is why I said don't go for this dragon. Like, you would be on this dragon still at this point, and just Ocean Drake slows you down, and Mad is already coming while Viego is on bottom side, and your AD carry has to recall while your support is almost on base still. So if you just go for this, and in the meantime your mid lane cannot rotate, cannot help it any fight or any objective at this point, then you would be dead, and you would be giving free kill to the enemy team. But what you can do is, if you get vision of Viego, which you do right now that he is here, then you can look to trade for a top kill and to get his jungle. basically it's not about necessarily contesting every objective. It's about how you can punish your opponent for him taking an objective. And
Something
your
like
best bet
trade.
is what? Sorry.
Something like trade.
Yeah.
You get
Yeah.
this, I
So
get.
basically, keep trading with the opponent. He might get a Drake, sure. It's a little gold, whatever. It's a little buff to the enemy team. Unless they get soul, it's not a huge problem. But in the meantime, you are snowballing the game. You annoy the enemy laners, you get a kill, you get all his jungle, and you get more XP and more gold from all those things compared what he gets. Sure, it's nice, but in general, it's not something we're dying for. Or like necessarily going for it. And I would say it's even a pretty good timing for him to go for the objective because most of his camps are up as well, and you never want that. Like you always want as the jungler so to at least have one quadrant down before going for any plays. And here I easily would have went for all of his jungle camps, not just his red buff. Just dash over the wall and
Yeah,
go
I
for
thought at this time
the
that he
Krugs
would
as well.
recall and start from Crags.
Yeah.
So I
Like
said,
you
let's take the
instantly
red.
just start with Krugs, go red, go Scuttle, and then Raptors, and then go for the Scuttle as well, even, and then just recall. That's why I didn't want you to wait for this gank opportunity because it might show up. But then you, as a jungler, always have to keep in mind what's the next objective, when is the next objective coming, and you want to be ready for that objective fight around 1 minute before it actually spawns. So before that, you have to consider that you want to spend your gold, and you have to consider the fact that it takes 25 seconds or so to get to the objective. That's why you want to recall like 1 minute earlier before an objective spawns. And right now, I think we easily would have had time to get the scatter as well. So now we would have vision on Viego if he ever does something. Here we just kill Fizz because he's greedy. Here you went for that attack, but in my mind, you just should have dashed over this wall while it's in range for your W. Just use W and get closer to him with a dash, and then auto attack it when you have vision on him.
It wasn't an auto attack. It was. I thought I had the stride breaker for slow,
oh, I see.
and I just used the
Oh,
Tiamat.
it wasn't auto attack. Yeah, it was a
Auto
Tiamat.
attack.
Yeah. Yeah, but either way. But it's nice that when you have Tiamat, you are actually using the item, but you when actually get Stride Breaker and you have the slow, you forgot about it. So it's interesting how you do the opposite basically.
Yeah, it's like whenever I remember an item exists, that's when I use it.
Yeah.
Sometimes I remember it, sometimes I don't, sometimes I overuse it.
Yeah.
Too random.
It's all good though. Because they just have to get used to the active items because not many champs have active items, right? So I mean some of your champs do, which you play, like Lydia with Zonya.
Some seasons that
Briar
were
if you
built.
go with Titanic Hydra. But someone like Oliver doesn't really go active
Briar,
items.
in Briar, I always remember it because it's the auto attack reset. So
Yeah, but I
I
mean
use
it's
it as
same
a
thing, it's
combo.
same logic for Belvet. But on top of that, you at least get
I
a slow
haven't
as well.
connected it to a combo with Belfast, but
I
with
see.
Briar, it's in my combo.
I
My
see.
combo is
Yeah.
this.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I never forget it.
yeah. So yeah, it's really nice that you go to punish this guy. And now, if we have enough for Strikebaker, you always want to go and reset for it. If not, then it's totally fine to farm 1 or 2 camps if needed, and recall right after. But now that we have Strikebreaker, now we are super strong. We have 2 items. Now our goal is no longer to farm. Our goal is to look for a potential fight, and then we're gonna fall back into the jungle and farm after. Obviously, if there's nothing happening in the meantime, then we can go for a camp or two. But here, yeah, it was almost close. I mean, it was super close. Like, if Ash, it takes her like 1 extra second to actually kill Mal, then she's probably dead just because of Mal ult. So in scenarios like this, whenever your AD carry or whoever is fighting and they have a really close fight, you have to ignore the other target, especially when they are full on HP, like they are full HP. You have to go for the closest and the easiest target, and just
I just
kill
wanted
that
to
guy.
scare her away so she doesn't join the fight.
I mean, he won't because
I
because she has to go through you in order to kill Ash, but that's never gonna happen because you are a scary jungler who is 2 levels ahead of her, so that never happen. Sure, if you would have been down in levels compared to her, then she might look for something like that, but that won't happen. Especially when it's about the support, like they're just gonna give up. Like, you can leave the support and let the support die. So here, well, I would say this is quite risky, sneaking around, because your Ashe is out of this fight. Sure, she's still here, but she has no HP, so she's not a threat to the enemy team. Meanwhile, we saw that Zeri is full HP, full mana. He has 1.5 items. Viego is, even though he's 1-3, then he's still a threat. And Fizz, because he's winning mid and he's against someone who is really passive until they get level 16, Fizz has a free window to pretty much roam almost any time. So you are here in a really bad position, and if this bush is ever warded, then you are pretty much just dead.
I had in mind to just go to the dragon with the dash through the wall if something.
Yeah, but you most likely won't have the time to actually go through the dragon pit when there's a Fizz who is fed and he has his Q and has his ult to catch up. Plus, we didn't even talk about flash and such. So
too confident with Q dash.
Yeah, you're definitely too confident. Here you would be. I mean, it sucks that you don't have the sweeper, but it would be nice. And during this time, like, all you should do is at your camp. This is just those small time windows where you don't have to overcomplicate things and run back and forth like a headless chicken and just look for something guaranteed. And kill opportunities like these gonna show up. Like, if you just go for raptors sooner and make your chickens respawn sooner, you still would have got this kill. And now Fizz is out of play, Viego is out of play. Here, all you have to do is focus on the Drake, get the smite right, and then you can turn if they still stick around. Well, obviously this means that you kind of sacrifice your support, but who cares? It's a Lux support. Like, I wouldn't care much. And same thing, what you did earlier when you said you want to scare Zeri away. Same thing, just go for the easiest target. It's a Zeri, she's mobile, doesn't matter that she has low HP. It's pretty hard to catch her. So just go for the guaranteed target. It's a Mal, she's immobile, she's squishy, so we can just go for the guaranteed kill and kill this guy. And if Zeri lurks around for too long, then we kill her as well. And it's gonna be the Atakan fight, or I mean fighting for Atakan. Here I'm not sure if you were aware of piece positioning, or you just were too confident and went for the scuttle anyway?
I saw him last minute moving towards
Yeah, so good
around.
habit.
He went in the bush.
I see.
That's when I saw him. So no,
So,
I could have died
yeah,
with
so good
very much.
habit whenever you don't know where the enemy is to kite the scuttle crab as well and make the scuttle crab move upwards, or obviously if there's a potential enemy threat here on the top side, then kite the scuttle towards the mid lane. Either way, the point is to kite it away from the enemy team, and you don't have to use all your spells on the camp or anything like that. Like using your Q, I would say is fine, and just burst it down as soon as you can. But the smite it and kite it away from the enemy team, because mistakes like these can easily just make you die and give away a lot of gold. And this is just the typical blindness in low elo. You almost died, Fizz walked into this bush, and then Gale decides to, okay, let's face check this bush and let's see if they just disappeared out of there randomly or something. So here we forgot about Stridebreaker once again, and unfortunately Fizz gets away, and now this is when we have to give up and get away as well. We can't really do anything anymore. Just you have to look to get out. Luckily only support died, so it's not that big of a deal, but you get the idea.
Yeah.
I pretty much that the fact that you missed Strybaker pretty much led to, or I mean forgetting about Strybaker led to the miss skill on Fizz. Oh, and again this fight as well. This was a good example that pretty much your camera was like this all the time. Like you were looking at Babat. But instead, we want to look on these guys. We want to look if our Lux is capable of hitting a nice Q, hitting a nice stun, and we can look to flank. And right now, you are basically just too deep behind the enemy lines. So whenever, like in League, you have to think about an invisible line which your teammates make, basically. So right now, Gale is here. So if I try to drag a line, Ornn is here, and let's imagine there's an invisible line between these two guys. Basically, you don't want to be over this line, you want to be behind this line and be as close to it as possibly can. Obviously, if you have to keep your distance, because you are basically a target from the enemy team perspective, because you are 8-1. So they are thinking like, okay, let's kill Balbat and then we are winning the fight. And that's true, basically. So we never want to be in position like this and be behind enemy line, because if this happens in the older patch where Baron spawned at 20 minutes and you just die here, that just pretty much gives them free Baron Asher.
Guarantee.
And it gives them your bounty, gives them Baron Asher, and then you're basically in a really hard spot to come back from. Because this game was quite close. But yeah, here you went for the Stridebreaker a little bit late once again, but it's fine. You're gonna get into the habit of using it more often.
It's one of those games that
in
I
range.
used it a lot.
Yeah, it might just be this game. I'm not saying You are not using it.
I use it a lot in comparison to other games. I usually forget. I totally forget about.
Yeah, so it's fine. But after you won the fight, then you have to get that again, and when that objective is gone, you have to think about the next objective, which is obviously dragon. So you have to keep in mind that when is dragon spawning, and when dragon is spawning, then you want to be ready for it. So basically, here, if
I
like
could
pressing
skip the.
tab, opening inventory, and see how much gold you need. This is why it's also important to have a smaller champion pool, because you just learn all these things, that how much each item costs at each stage, depending on how many components you have out of that item. So you know that, okay, I have 600 gold, my item is 750, I need 150 more gold, so I'm gonna go for farm without having to open shop over and over again. So this is why this is also nice to have a smaller champion pool, because right now you are getting these extra camps, and basically you're gonna be late to this dragon because of it.
And I didn't get the item
And
in the end.
in the end, you didn't get the wall item. And for the other item, you already had enough gold, because you're gonna be like 200-ish gold extra. Yeah, you have 200 extra gold, and you couldn't finish your wall bit. But now you are late to this dragon, because they should have started and drag it out of the pit to pretty much give you a harder time. But you were so confident here that you are gonna win. So you went in recklessly, which well worked out. But personally, if I had to, I would have killed this Drake and just try to go around and clean up the fight and kill the threats, instead of getting into the pit and potentially dying.
Yeah, that was a bit.
So this was
Weird.
really greedy, but it worked.
I even failed the flower thing.
Yeah.
I didn't know Belvet had so big
Yeah, and here,
range.
I don't know if you were aware of Viego, but I would have went
So that was
probably for the fight
effectively.
and then look to finish Dragon. But I mean, I would have had a different approach from the start to this fight and just not go through the wall like this.
The thought about it was he will try to steal the dragon.
Yeah.
So either I smite well, I get the dragon and I kill him since he's low, or
Yeah.
he gets the dragon but I still kill him since he's low.
Yeah, but I mean,
Is what I
you
thought
still
of that.
could have survived this, especially if you are a little bit faster and you get here faster a little bit, then you maybe could have made Orn move into the river sooner. So then he would have been here in position for you around here to help you and fight with you. And then even if you lose, because at this point, this objective fight, I know it will sound weird, it wasn't really about who gets the dragon, it was about who wins the fight. It doesn't matter if you lose this dragon as long as you live, because then you have the next objective, which is Baron Nashor. But because you went in so recklessly and you ended up dying, you gave away your bounty, you are dead, and you are not getting Baron Nashor
Wow.
either, but you ended up failing the smite and you lost the dragon as well. So basically, you just gave as many comeback opportunities for the enemy team as you possibly could. And imagine on top of that, if Viego would have survived this somehow, and then now they would have been in a way better spot. So you are somewhat lucky that actually 4 of them die, so they have no way of contesting
Getting
this
rid.
Baron or just getting it. But yeah, this fight was more about who wins it, and the team who wins the fight will get the dragon and will get the Baron as well. So you don't really have to focus this hard on this dragon, because once again, this Drake was only the third Drake, which, yeah, it sucks to lose it, because then it puts pressure on you that you have to contest the next dragon and you have to win the fight and you have to win the dragon, because otherwise they're gonna get soul, which is quite frustrating, especially from a jungle perspective. But it's totally fine if they get the dragon as long as you win the fight, because if they get the dragon but you win the fight and you leave and you get the Baron, then who cares? They won't get soul, because by the time they would be able to get the soul, the game would be over because you just end, right? So it's not like they get anything from the dragon. This fight will be when you die in the enemy jungle by being too greedy. Because the thing is, right now, I don't think that you owned Rico since the dragon fight. Yeah, he didn't. So right now, this is a 2v2 for now, obviously. But if you think about it, where your Lux is, where your Ashe is, and where your Kayle is, like Kayle is not in position at all to join you. These two will join you eventually, but you have to buy time, and you have, well, obviously we see it in the replay, but you have no clue where these 3 are. You don't know if they are here or if they are here in Fog of War, and they are just basically waiting for you to commit, and then you die, and then you lose Baron once again. So in the past 2 minutes, you could have lost Baron, or like you could have made your team lose Baron twice, which sure ended up working this time. But when the game is closer, these can be game losing mistakes. Like here, you should be looking to get out, not to chase this Zeri, because like I said, this is what I talked about earlier, that this Zeri is super annoying if she gets pet, because you and Ornn cannot do anything against her unless she is off position and you are actually able to catch her with a stun, catch her with Stridebreaker. But when you are forced to run straight into her, then she is winning that, because she keeps kiting you guys and she gonna run away. Especially when now you have no ult, and I mean not ult, you have no HP. So at this point you have to look to get out somehow, but I guess it's already too late, and you are just doomed from start. Like, this fight shouldn't happen ever, just because your Kayle decided to split push on bot lane. And whenever this happens... What? Sorry?
We could only stall and wait if they go for Kayle and have number advantages.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I wanted to say, that here you don't have to force a fight at all. Like right here, doesn't matter if it's your mid laner, doesn't matter if it's your top laner. As long as someone looks to create pressure, someone from the enemy team has to contest it and has to go there. But unless that happens, you cannot go for this fight, and you have to wait for these 2 guys. And even then, when these 2 guys get here, get in distance to fight, even then it's questionable if you want to fight, because if someone doesn't show up on bot lane to catch this scale, then you know that you are most likely outnumbered, and you can go for a 50-50 Baron fight with them. Meanwhile, Kayle is getting objectives, so it's really tough for the enemy team. Like, they have to commit. In that case, they will feel forced to either fight you because they have an advantage, or just accept that Kayle is getting towers, which they never will and never want to do. But even then, by just dancing around, you would be in a safe spot and make the enemy team lose patience and get even more frustrated because they keep losing objectives. But it was nice that Viego died, but it didn't change the outcome. It was just his dumb move that he died. And now, once again, the enemy team is basically in position to get Baron Nashor. Sure, luckily, Viego was kind of playing for your team this game, so you didn't lose Baron. Yeah.
Yeah, my thought on this fight was to, since we are both strong, me and Orn, to catch Viego, kill him, and get the Baron.
Yeah, but then if you are not sure where the enemy team is, then you have to expect them that they are close. Like, this is my thought process all the time, and this is what I tell people all the time, that okay, if you're not sure where the enemy team is, just expect them to be close to you. Like, for example, when you were fighting here, if you're not sure where the rest of the enemy team is, let's expect them that they are in the fog of war right behind their teammates. And then you're gonna realize that you don't want to go for a 2v fight. Right? 2v5 fight. And then you're just gonna go back. In the meantime, if there is nothing happening, just go for a camp, especially when you're close to hit level 16. Just try to get some resources. And when the fight breaks out, just be patient. You don't have to commit too hard, and just wait how the fight breaks out. And when someone oversteps, then you can commit and you can actually go for it. Here, Mordekaiser overcommitted. And you can clean them up and get the Baron. And now they are in a really bad position and they can no longer contest the Baron. Here you went for this ward, which is fine, but the problem is now you don't see this area. And if I would be looking to steal Baron, then, or whenever I'm looking to steal Baron as a jungler, I'm never going into this bush just because it's most of the time warded. Instead, I'm gonna try to look for a pet like this, which is more often than not, it's not warded. And this is why ideally you want to drop your ward behind this, and that way you're gonna see from every direction from every angle if the enemy jungler is trying to contest it, because he gonna have to get out of this bush. But if he does get out of this bush, then by putting your ward here, you're gonna see them actually, which is once again nice. And now you only have to think about the next fight, which will be most likely around the dragon. But in the meantime, you want to make sure that mid lane is pushing, bot lane is pushing, so someone is getting it, and you burn down the dragon. And basically, this fight was well played by you guys, and you clean it up. You actually used Threadbreaker really well in this fight, so it's even worth watching back. Like, it only took you 30 minutes to get confident on when to use Threadbreaker, but you ended up using it perfectly at the end of the game. So this is why you probably have to play more battle games just to get into the habit of using your Stridebreaker.
The only active item I usually used correctly was Zonia's, because I was a mid lane main, so I had it always.
Yeah,
that's
I mean,
the only item
maybe then use it on the same K-bind. I'm not sure if you used Zoya on too. as well, or you just Strikebreaker, but maybe use it on the
True.
same item slot.
I use it on that item slot, but I don't have it in mind as
I see.
an active item, so I need to get used to Belveth or any champion that uses it.
Yeah.
So,
So here, what
start.
I was saying while during the live game is that okay, Fizz will be up soon, so he's the threat. And considering your HP, you're quite low on HP. But in the meantime, I was also considering that okay, my Kale has wood. I was just only thinking loud that okay, Fizz is the threat. Fizz is spawning soon, but you can go for this tower because your Kale has wood, and most likely he's gonna be smart enough to use it on you. And then you don't have to run, just something to worry about, something to think about that okay, this guy will be a threat, and you can go for the end and finish the game right there.
Mostly thinking
So
about
yeah,
keeping my Qs so I can
yeah,
bait him,
you could have.
try to chase him, then go for
No,
the
here
next.
you didn't have to. In this specific scenario where you had a Kale and she had the wood ready for you, just for you, here you don't worry about your opponent, especially someone like Babette who can hit the Nexus real fast and destroy it pretty quickly. Here you don't think about that. You just go for the Nexus, hit it as hard as you can, and end the game. Like you don't need to get extra kill just for better KD or anything like that. You just hit the Nexus and get out. You just get the LP and you're calling it there. So
Nice.
nothing like that is needed. Yeah, like you don't have to overcomplicate it. Just because if you go for that one extra kill, then you also have to worry about the rest of the team, because that timer on Viego was also super close. So if you just waste another 3-5 seconds on trying to chase kill, then that just gives them enough time to actually revive, and then you might end up losing the game, because now you can't end, you die, you give them a lot of gold, and now they're gonna look to push the side lane, gonna look to push the mid lane. Plus, don't forget that now the Nexus towers actually spawn, so if they play on that timer, while they get pretty much infinite resources, just because super minion wave is pushing towards them all the time, so they're gonna get a bunch of gold, then they can potentially outscale you guys, and you actually lose the game. Well, not this game, because your team is pretty
It's a
good at
more
scaling,
scalable.
especially with Gale and Ash, and with all the Orn items and such. You guys scale pretty well, but just in general, this could easily happen that they're gonna get fed up with super minions and outscale you, or just come back. And
It has happened to me lots of times.
yeah, it's something that happens very often. So yeah, if you have any questions, anything to go over, then feel free to ask, and I'm gonna try my best to answer.
Just one question. Is there any point of the game that I should be more on the enemy counter jungling or fighting Viego, something like that, or should I go for safe and if there is for example, I'm near the some laner that pushes, etc. Then go for the jungle and try for the counter jungle.
Basically, the same approach we had this game, and the same approach is the logic you had earlier, like when we tried to invade his raptor camps. Like, because he was too greedy and he overstayed on the map, we try to look to get his Raptor camp right, just because he overstayed on the map, so we constantly look to punish, and this is when you look to invade the enemy jungler, when you can punish them for something. Let's say Viego went on bot lane, he did a good gank or bad gank, doesn't matter which one. The point is he went for a gank, so we want to do something on the opposite side of the map. If we are not on the same side, we want to constantly trade something, and this is when we generally look for invades, and
I
this
mean,
is
like mid to late game, if I am fed, should I counter jungle, or only if we have control, then go and not
only if you have control. Like, for example, if I go back a little bit, let's ignore Kel's KD for now. Let's say there's no objective on the map, because you shouldn't go for this obviously if there's an objective on the other side of the map as a jungler. But let's say you are alive and you are fed, your split pusher is also fed and they are strong, they are going for a tower. This is when you would generally invade at the later stages of the game. Like, you're basically helping your laner to be in a safe spot while the laner is also covering you. So this would be a right time for you that, okay, your laner is going for this tower, but in the meantime, you are stealing enemy jungle camps. And if you have to, you can go to help them get this tower, and you're pretty much there for each other. Whenever you are fed or whenever the enemy jungler is dead, whenever you are stronger than them, and you know that you won't be outnumbered. And in the meantime, you get for the Gromp, you get the wolves as well, drop a ward here or something, and let Kale or whoever might be your teammate get this tower. And these type of invades at the later stages of the game pretty much work all the time. Or let's say, same scenario, you are alive, but your team got caught, and the enemy team is actually going for this Baron. Then instead of going for this Baron blindly, then what you do is get the whole enemy jungle and look to get tower and look to get something back. Basically, you are constantly trading something. But obviously, whenever your team is pushing for a tower, or let's say 4 of them or 3 of them is going for, like, a very common example is when 3 of your teammates are going for the mid tower, while your mid laner or top laner is going for the side lane tower, and during that time you don't have to be with them. Instead, what you can do is get enemy jungle camps, like get enemy raptors, get the red buff, get wolves, get the blue buff, or get even the gromp, and that's when you can generally look to invade for free, because the enemy jungler cannot contest you. And obviously you can do this earlier if it's safe, if you know that you won't be in a 1v3 scenario or something like that, or a 1v2, unless you know for a fact that you can win it. But even then, I don't like to go for, or like, I don't like recommending people to go for 1v2 scenarios, because it's always risky. Like, you might miss something and mess up, and then you just give away a bounty just because you were cocky and thought that you can win a 1v2. So I would say it's better to play for the safest play instead of being too cocky and going for the guaranteed resources. Like, it can be fun to invade all the time and fight the enemy jungler and make them mad and such, but yeah, it's better to go for these type of invades at the later stage of the game when you have someone around. Like, it's the same thing we talked about earlier, that invisible line between your teammates. Like, at this point, if Gale goes for this tower, then there's an invisible line which you should respect and not cross. But obviously this line is already pretty far up. because from the enemy laners, from the enemy team perspective, is if you cross that line, you're gonna be the closest target to them. Like, let's say if there's this tower is still up, and let's assume the mid tower is still up, but on top lane you are pushing for the inhibitor first, meanwhile your teammates are getting these two towers, then obviously the enemy team will collapse on you and go for the person who is pushing the inhibitor, right? So that's why that invisible line example is so important to keep in mind and don't go too far. Or same example when you went for the enemy raptors, but your own was here where this Mordekaiser is right now, and basically the rest of your teammates were behind Orn. In that case, you were too far up, and if the enemy team decides to collapse on you, they could have done it for free just because your team would have needed more time in order to actually join the fight and help you out. Because by the time they do that, you are already dead, and you just give away a kill and give away your shutdown and such. So those invades are obviously bad, but whenever, let's say, your mid laner, enemy mid laner is dead, and even if the enemy jungler is alive and you can create 2v1, even at the earlier stages of the game, enemy mid laner just died, that's when you can go and check the enemy triggers, for example, because you have your mid laner kill the enemy mid laner, or they got a solo kill, even better. And then you can utilize that man advantage to actually go into the jungle and check for vision, check for camps and such, and go for those type of greedy invades. Or worst case, even if your mid laner won't be able to join you or doesn't want to join you in a fight to invade the enemy jungler, it's still a 1v1 fight. And as long as you are confident that you can take that 1v1 fight, you can go for it because you have more items, you have ult up, and obviously you check all these little checklists, all these checklists in your mind while going for such a play. You think it's a good idea, then obviously you can go for these type of invades. Other times when you are not this ahead and you are not that fed, you obviously have to look to trade more often, because then you are not the jungler in control, so you obviously have to react to the enemy team.
Yeah. And I just noticed the Viego items. God. Weird build.
Yeah, so
Anyway,
yeah,
that was my question. The other, I think you covered everything.
yeah, I'm glad then.
Yeah, most of those things, in theory, I know them. I know what
Yeah,
I do wrong.
it's
After I
just hard to apply, and
to
sometimes
apply them.
you just need someone to actually say these things out loud and remind you of these things, and then something randomly just clicks, and then this is when people just go on a pretty big win streak.
So I made the mistake of learning everything and trying to apply everything together. So I kind of lost.
That's unnecessary work.
That's when I started playing Mundo, Udyr, etc. to focus on tempo, learn tempo,
Yeah,
and then move to Belveth, etc. that are more aggressive junglers that I like.
yeah, that's why it's not that great to mix playstyles. Even though I know playing just one playstyle, like following junglers, is quite boring at times, but you have to take small steps, and you don't have to. I mean, you shouldn't try to learn all the jungle fundamentals at once. Like, you don't want to learn what is tempo, you don't want to learn what is jungle tracking, objective timing, recall timing, gank timing, you name it. You don't want to learn all these things at once. Obviously, you want to learn all these things eventually, but not at the same time. And you should just focus on one thing at a time. Like, for example, just from starting with something like you're going to promise yourself that you're going to look at your lanes more often between your camps, like when you are walking between your camps. You start with that small step until it becomes a habit, and then when it became a habit, then you actually start to learn something new or start to apply a new concept. And these things basically just connect together. Like if you just learn when to look on your minimap, when to look on your lanes as well, then you already gonna have a better idea about when to gank a lane, because you're gonna identify those small windows when then your laners are trading with their opponent and such. So you're gonna recognize those small ganking windows as well. And then when you already notice those things, you can already move on to the next thing, that how you can get better at ganking and how you can be more efficient. And basically this just goes on. And when you learn all these jungle pets basically for your own champions, then you basically don't have to think about these things when you're facing Balvat, because you know that, okay, it's a Balvat, she likes to start on Raptor, so it's fair to assume that the enemy jungler gonna look to start on Raptor as well, and you can predict their jungle route. But obviously in lower ranks this is harder, for example, because people like to do a lot of mix up things and go for weird petting, like this Viego going for bot scuttle, but then clearing his topside jungle instead of recalling to be efficient. But then, yeah, learning recall timing, again, another crucial thing to do for junglers, but for laners as well, obviously. But overall, the team and a jungler can lose more if he doesn't know when to recall than a laner in general, because a laner might get away with it, but a jungler usually won't, because they're gonna lose an objective, they're gonna delay their level 6 spike, their item spike, and if they delay their recall, then they're gonna have weaker items, so if a potential gank opportunity shows up, they cannot gank, and it's just a snowball effect.
Yeah. Especially if you delay a camp and then it delays the next spawn of the camp.
Yeah,
so
and
it's not like lane that the minions will come anyway.
Yeah, on top of that, you just
delay
basically put yourself behind, because then your next camp will be spawning later. So you're getting less resources and you just pretty much set up yourself for failure.